Hello there everyone, Commonwealth from here, and I'm this time joined by Rogersbase once again to talk about the rather big lineup we have for the Nintendo Switch this year in 2021, 2022, and yeah, possibly even further beyond.
I mean, we know a lot of things that are actually coming out next year, too. Not only things that were recently announced in the most recent Nintendo Direct, but also stuff that has sort of been lingering since 2017, 2018. So they've got a really strong lineup coming out. And obviously, there's going to be other games announced for later this year once we find out, more about their holiday lineup. And if we are actually going to get a Switch Pro this year, for whatever's going to happen during that week that E3 normally happens. So there's still going to be more stuff beyond all the things we're talking about.
And we're starting actually from new Pokemon Snap, a game we haven't seen in over 20 years.
This is probably one of my most anticipated games of the year. I'm looking forward to do a full playthrough of it on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I feel like Pokemon Snap is one of those games that I've always wanted a sequel to. And I sort of resigned myself to the fact after the Wii U generation that we probably weren't going to get one. So the fact that we actually have one now is just making me so happy. And yeah, I really can't wait. I'm counting down the days.
This game looks absolutely gorgeous. I think Bandai Namco did an incredible job with the whole art style and graphics. It's obviously an on-rails experience, so they could really push the graphics envelope more. April 30th, it's definitely a pick since the game isn't that long. And it's been more than enough covered. So I think we're just going to move on to May, where we have 4 games confirmed so far. It's Famicom Detective Club, Miitopia, Shin Megami Tensei 3, Nocturne HD Remaster, and World's End Club. And do we have much more to say about Famicom Detective Club on May 14th, apart from the fact that it is a remake of the Famicom classics?
I'm just excited for it. I'm looking forward to Nintendo actually localizing more of these visual novel type games. There's another one that came out in Japan called Buddy Mission Bond, and I really want to play that one too, but I don't know when we're actually going to get that game localized. But yeah, Famicom Detective Club is something I've been interested in since Melee, and I obviously just never had a chance to play it because it wasn't in English. So having both of the games remade, in HD, I can't wait.
One of 2 first-party games actually this the month of May, because we also have Miitopia on May 21st. And this is a very interesting title because it is a 3DS original title that has been upscaled and redone for the Switch. And it creates a lot of opportunities for other 3DS games.
Give me Links Between Worlds, please.
Yes. Or Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, maybe even Mario Kart 7. Who knows if we don't get a proper Mario Kart on the Switch.
Interesting.
It is pretty much an RPG, make your own RPG game, Miitopia, so it's definitely worth your time. Then we have a much bigger game in Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster on May 25th. This is one of Atlus's classics and definitely a warm-up to Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga coming in Q1 or Q2. You got the DC Superhero Girls Teen Power game coming out on June 4th. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection seems kind of interesting on June 10th, but then the one I really want to sort of hone in on is Legend of Mana coming on June 24th. I am actually really, really excited to play this. I've heard nothing but good things about this game, and I just never had the opportunity to try it out, and so having it on Switch, I don't know, I might even stream this game, to be honest with you. I'm really that excited for it. I've heard the soundtrack already, and the soundtrack's phenomenal.
And the day after, and we're not going to rush through this one, is Mario Golf.
Literally the day after, yeah.
We have Mario Golf Super Rush. And it is probably the new Switch game that I'm actually the most excited about because I've loved Wii Sports Golf and having the motion controls with the Joy-Cons. Even Mario Golf has surprising depth as one of the best golf simulators out there. And it is the Nintendo franchise.
And there's also the multiplayer modes as well, too, that they're adding to this. So I'm actually really excited for this. I've never really been that huge of a Mario Golf person. I've always liked Mario Tennis a little bit more. But no, Golf, I'm really excited to revisit it. And I agree with you. I think the motion controls are going to make it great. I am wondering if the single player mode is going to have any of the really cool RPG mechanics that the GBA ones did.
They call it a story mode.
They're calling it a story mode, but you know what I mean, like an actual RPG type game similar to those.
Yeah, and then we have the Speed Golf one, which seems like a little bit of Mario Kart mayhem, which seems cool. Then we have a game that got its release date confirmed in March, and that is Disgaea 6, which is coming out on June 29th. Yeah, we're probably also going to put a lot of time, or already are putting our time, into Monster Hunter Rise, and then we also have Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, coming on July 9th.
And it looks really cool. I actually never played the first Stories game, so I'm excited to try this one out.
The first Zelda entry on this list, which is The Legend of of Zelda Skyward Sword HD on July 26th.
I really can't wait. I think Skyward Sword gets a lot of negative attention that it doesn't necessarily deserve. I feel like having an option to not have to play with motion control, I think, is going to get a lot of people into the game that weren't already into it. I am wondering if they're going to sort of clean up anything like the imprison fights or some of the other stuff that got a little boring and grindy by the end of the game. But I think the soundtrack still holds up as one of the best in the series. I love the cast. I think Girahim is a really good antagonist. This version of Zelda is probably one of my favorites, tied up there with like Breath of the Wild Zelda and the Ocarina of Time Zelda. So I'm really looking forward to re-experiencing this.
The thing about this remaster remake, it's a little bit uncertain what they're calling this game. It all depends on how much they're going to change, because this is the most divisive of all the 3D Zeldas, by far. It is a game that has many of those, I just don't want to deal with this game anymore. And it drags on. It's another example of those games that doesn't know exactly when to end.
And I am wondering if maybe we're going to end up getting some type of Zelda Direct before this game gets released that maybe goes into greater detail about what's been changed.
Yeah, I think they need to go over it, because this is a game that didn't sell all that well on the Wii because of all the requirements like Wii Motion Plus, and also the fact that it was coming out at the very end of the console's life cycle. The Wii U had already been revealed. So this is like a second chance for Skyward Sword, but it all depends on if you're gonna improve our impression of Fi, because Fi was constantly interrupting in the original Skyward Sword, so
just an option to turn her off would be great.
That would be great. And also all the warnings about low health and your battery's running low and Joy-Cons drifting.
Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD are both highly, highly rumored games to be coming out later this year. So when we're talking like later in the year, like 2021, 2022 type games that we're going to bring up on this discussion, just keep in mind that Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD are both things that are most likely coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, now we're going over to the summer games that have not been confirmed in terms of release dates. First out, we have Outer Wilds, which it is kind of an open world experience as well. It is an adventure experience, at least. Then we have the long-awaited Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, though that game was already, it's already past its peak thanks to Among Us.
Had this come out during that initial 2 weeks, I think it would have been huge, like for Switch owners in particular. But yeah, now I don't know if I'm going to go back and play it.
Now I'm going to leave the stage for you, Roger.
Yes, please, because no, we're not talking about Samurai Warriors 5. That is a game that's coming out this summer. No, the thing that I am so excited for, the game I've been waiting for a sequel for so long, is The World Ends With You. And this summer we are finally getting Neo, The World Ends With You. Not a spin-off, remix, remaster, whatever. No. A full-on sequel to The World Ends With You, and getting a brand new World Ends With You game, just based on what we already saw in the trailers, where we got Minamoto in there as well, saying Soze to slow. He's going to be implemented into the story. I'm wondering what the characters are going to be in here. I'm so unbelievably excited. I love the world of World Ends With You. I love the music of The World Ends With You. I love the characters, and I just feel like it's something that absolutely deserves to get a sequel.
Okay, Samurai Warriors 5 is already out of the way, so we're going straight over to another sequel, actually. No More Heroes 3 on August 27th.
Only thing about this that I'm a little disappointed by is the game really is ugly. It's a really, I can't even hide it. Like, I like No More Heroes and I like the world of the game, but it is one ugly looking game. So if I can remove myself from that and just go, okay, I'm going to enjoy this for what it is, then I think I'll have a good time. But
No More Heroes 3 is a game that we've been waiting so long for a sequel since the Wii. And when we first saw the gameplay during this Nintendo Direct, I was just like, there's still a few months left. They might polish it up, but the art style is not going to change.
Speaking of art styles that aren't going to change. That's the perfect segue. We got to do it. Of course, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl coming this November, this holiday season. Now, I know there were a lot of people. We haven't talked since then. I am actually curious. Conrad, what did you think of the visual style of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl?
It is accurate to what the game was on the DS. But in terms of the color selections and whatnot, I have to say I am not too big of a fan of this style. This feels like a 3DS game. And it looks like a 3DS game.
It does look like an up-res 3DS game. I think the thing for me is I like the way that it looks top-down. Like, I like that it actually has the scale of the original areas. That, to me, looks really cool, actually. It's like when you zoom in on the little chibi characters. I don't even really mind when it's in the battle. Like, when you're in battle, it just kind of looks like Pokemon Let's Go a little bit. It looks like a, cleaned up version of Pokemon Let's Go. Or, like, you know what it reminds me the most of? It reminds me of when people were playing Sun and Moon without like the outlines. Remember when people were streaming like the no outline versions of Sun and Moon? That's to me what this looks the most like, especially because the no outline versions were all running on computers. And so I'm still really excited for this though. Like despite the art style, I really think this is going to be awesome. I love Gen 4. Gen 4 remains one of my absolute favorite generations of Pokemon. The music is really good in Gen 4. I'm excited to see what a lot of these areas are going to look like top down, like what they're going to include in the game was in Platinum that wasn't necessarily in Diamond and Pearl, because now we've actually seen based on the trailer that there are NPCs that are in this world that were in Platinum that were not in Diamond and Pearl. Like honestly, I like Sinnoh. I think it's a fun region. I like the fact that the Pokemon variety is a little odd, that there's only like 3 fire types in the whole game. I'm actually really excited to see contests again as well. I loved the contests in Diamond and Pearl, so I want to see what that's going to look like on an HD system as well too.
And also Small Dawn.
Yes, yep, little Chibi Dawn.
Then we also have Chris Tales, which was also confirmed, I think, in the Direct for 2021. Then outside of the Direct, we got Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2, the remaster remake that came out last year, which is going to come to the Switch sometime this year.
Yeah, it's really good. I can't wait to play it on the go.
That is one of those type of games that you just want to do a quick skating session and then lay it down and not have to be dependent on a TV. Okay, then we are getting down to the latest stuff. I think actually we could start with Rune Factory 5. This game was revealed back in 2019 on the Switch, and then we haven't heard much about it since.
And I honestly have never played a Rune Factory game, and I know that I would like them based on the way that they've been described to me. But yeah, this might be my opportunity to actually jump into it.
Well, depending on the release time and what other games will be coming out, because the Switch is actually getting some very good exclusives this year, including...
Oh, yeah.
And most of all, I would say, besides Monster Hunter Rise, that is already out, we have Shin Megami Tensei 5, a game that was revealed at the Nintendo Switch presentation in January 2017. This is also one of those type of games that I think could slip out of this year in case they have more time, because they already have Nocturne Remaster coming to the Switch. I'm still going to be hopeful and think that this game is going to come in 2021, because I guess 2021 needs those type of RPGs. It doesn't look like we're going to get Persona anytime soon, because that would be another point of confusion between 5 and 5s. And yeah, Atlas has finally reached 5 for both Persona and Shin Megami Tensei 5, hopefully by the end of this year. We still have also Diablo 2 Resurrected, which is also coming out sometime in 2021. We have Baldo. We have no clue when in 2021 it's going to come out. The same goes for Sports Story, which some may have already anticipated was out by the time of the upload of this video. And then we have Ace Attorney Collection, which is also coming out, but before the next Ace Attorney game? Explain.
It's before the next Ace Attorney game. Yeah. So I think it's going to be before the next Ace Attorney game, but they're remastering 4 and 5. It was in that initial like Capcom leak that happened a while ago, and recently got officially announced. So yeah, I'm stoked. The more Phoenix Wright on the Switch, the better. And then actually on the topic of games that I'm really looking forward to that I hope we end up getting this year, we got Hollow Knight Silksong as well. I don't know when we're going to officially get a release date for that. We've been waiting for Silksong, I feel like, for a very long time. And last year was actually my first experience with Hollow Knight. So there's definitely a lot of people who've been waiting far longer than I have been for this game. But now I am right there in the trenches with those fans. I absolutely adored Hollow Knight when I played it on stream last year. And I think Silksong's just going to be fantastic when we do eventually get the chance to play it.
Absolutely. And I have a feeling that it should be this year, because the original Hollow Knight came out in 2017, came out on the Switch during E3 2018. So I think it's about time. Hopefully the developer will be able to finish it. But there are also some other interesting games in like the 2D styles that are coming out, including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which was revealed.
That was such a fun little announcement the other week. Yeah, I thought it looked so cool. Not just like the awesome Saturday morning cartoon trailer they had for it, but the gameplay itself looks great. I love like the sprite work looks fantastic, and it just reminds me of those old TMNT games of yours. So yeah, I'm actually really excited for that one.
Okay, then we have pretty much drained out this year. We have some potentials like
yeah, so I put these on here because all three of these have a very high likelihood, I think, of coming out this year, but obviously they're not officially announced and we don't know when the dates are going to be. The two we know for sure that are going to be this year on this list of three: there will be a new Kirby game this year and there will be a new Mario Party game this year. We don't know to what extent those games will be, but ND Cube has already announced they have a project for later this year, and the Kirby developer developers have already said they've been working very hard on the next Kirby title to be the best Kirby title that can possibly be. And they also said in their New Year's card that their next project is going to be this year, in addition to a bunch of like new Kirby merch and things like that. So we know for a fact we're getting a Kirby game and we're getting something, maybe not necessarily a Mario Party, but something from ND Cube. So those two are like, you could basically already count on them. The one that I put under potentials alongside Kirby and Mario Party that obviously could not happen or could happen, but I think is more likely than not, is a 2D Metroid from Mercury Steam. This was heavily rumored alongside the Paper Mario rumors prior to Color Splash even being announced. Color Splash came out. There have been people discussing that potentially this 2D Metroid game got delayed in order to sort of satiate the want for like a Metroid game in between waiting for development for 4. So I could totally see them doing a 2D Metroid game either this summer or this fall, either that or the long-awaited Prime trilogy, one of the two.
I also think something Metroid, especially since it is the 35th anniversary of Metroid, Nintendo has neglected that twice in a row. For the 30th anniversary, they gave us a game, but it was a game no one wanted. Federation Force.
Right. right.
That is potentials, not confirmed, but the other one that is confirmed, however, and you're gonna take this one, Roger. Overwatch 2.
I cannot wait for Overwatch 2. I feel like I've been waiting for them to give us more information on this game. The only problem is that we don't actually know for certain if it's a 2021 game. They have not still set a concrete date. They said they're working on it. They showed off a lot of stuff at BlizzCon. Personally, I've put like 90 plus hours into Overwatch on the Switch. I adore Overwatch. I can't wait for the sequel game. But again, I'm not holding my breath for that to be a 2021 title. I think it's likely that it's probably going to be like a late 2022 title. Even with the amount of work that they've put into it, I think it's still a ways off. I think it's going to be like the next big iteration. And I know they're winding things down for regular Overwatch, but I think they might just take a break here and then maybe release it like early 2022, or like I said, late 2022 is not the realm of possibility. When you said you were going to throw it to me, I thought you were going to bring up Genshin Impact because I didn't even know this is something that's coming to Switch in 2021.
Because the developer has been hinting a Switch port, and this game is as made for the Switch. It is the perfect game for the Switch, free to play, and Breath of the Wild mechanics.
And considering it's such a gacha heavy game, I mean, I already have the game downloaded on my PS4. I actually have it on my iPad as well. I mean, I've got it on a bunch of different places, but I haven't poured any money into it, and I'm not planning on it anytime soon.
Yeah, and it would be the second Breath of the Wild clone on the Switch after Immortals Phoenix Rising last year.
Speaking of, do you want to give the lead in?
The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, holiday 2021 or late 2022.
Now that the stuff has come out about the Switch Pro and the 7-inch shit, I now feel very confident this is our holiday game. I think very strongly, because initially when Aonuma said in that direct, like, oh, there's going to be more information later in the year, I took that as, oh, that means we're getting more information, but the game is not coming this year. But what I actually think they're going to do is I think they're going to pull a Nintendo Switch presentation type deal, announce a lot of information, show a trailer, a teaser, whatever, during an early year Zelda Direct, and then officially say, hey, game's coming out this year, big blowout around summertime, one more final big push around the fall, and then it launches alongside Switch Pro.
I wouldn't be surprised that the reason they are holding back new footage, news about this game, is literally the Switch Pro.
Yes, completely.
They want to sell the game running on the best possible hardware and looking at its best.
Of course.
Not having frame rate jaggies and so on, because those are things you're going to immediately see. And this game is just so monumental. Like, Zelda is already at the top, winning over 200 Game of the Year awards for Breath of the Wild. It was an unrivaled 2017 Game of the Year. And now bringing back the Ganondorf so you complete the Triforce with power, wisdom, and courage.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's gonna completely break the internet, and the moment Nintendo is gonna launch this game, I really hope that Horizon Forbidden West is not gonna be launching anywhere close to the release of this game.
Poor Horizon. I really feel like if Breath of the Wild does come out this year, we're looking at 2021 being like potentially one of the strongest years for Switch, because not only would we have the sequel game for Breath of the Wild, we would have the remake of Gen 4, the highly anticipated remake of Gen 4, a sequel to The World Ends With You, HD remasters put onto Switch of Skyward Sword HD, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, a full new Monster Hunter game with Monster Hunter Rise, a new Pokemon Snap game as well, and the promise of all this stuff coming in the next year, like things that we'll get to in just a little bit. I feel like 2021. Plus, you have to take into consideration as well, there's most likely going to be more events in Animal Crossing, more characters we already know are going to be released for Smash Brothers too. So they're going to be doing massive pushes for those games as well.
I just have to say that the strength of this year is very much going to depend on if the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild launches.
Oh, of course.
Because otherwise people are going to think, oh, this is just a port year and third parties and very little first party Nintendo. But if this is going to release, it's going to become the new system seller. It's going to bring the Switch Pro. Yeah, some of you still say it doesn't exist, but we have reports from people that
now it's no question. Yeah.
Pieces of displays and so on for this system. It is as bulletproof as it can get with production dates. Yeah, it's the PlayStation 4 Pro's strategy all over again. Just games running better.
Which I think is the right way. It's the right way to go with Switch, considering how the handhelds have been. And I think especially because that ties directly into the final thing we're going to talk about, which is like 2022 and moving forward, is, Breath of the Wild, if that is going to be the centerpiece for the Switch Pro, I'm also assuming that Switch Pro will most likely have some type of full presentation prior to the end of the year, where it's like, this is our major holiday game, this is what the games that are currently running on Switch look like on Switch Pro, but here's what we have moving forward. I actually think that's when we're going to see a lot of the things we have written on this list again. I think they're going to be, the next time we see Splatoon 3, or the next time we see Project Triangle Strategy, or Metroid Prime 4, or Bayonetta 3, I think all of these are going to be seen for the first time on Switch Pro during whenever that presentation is going to be, most likely before the end of this year. Yeah, we've got Splatoon 3, which obviously I'm very excited for that. We've got Project Triangle Strategy, the new game from the Octopath team, which, I'm sure you saw my reaction. I could not be more excited as a huge fan of tactics and just that art style in general, the music. Then, of course, you got Bayonetta 3, which Kamiya's always been a troll about this, saying, oh, you don't know when you're going to get more info. I'm sure he's waiting for Switch Pro as well. And then, of course, we know not only that Retro Studios is still working on Metroid Prime 4 and that Monolith Soft is working on their new IP, we also know that now Next Level has been completely taken over by Nintendo. Next Level is now a full-on first-party studio of Nintendo's. I would not doubt that we would see some type of Next Level game in this presentation as well. But of those games I just brought up, there is one that I feel like is probably deserving of the most focus for both you and me. You as somebody who is a huge Zelda fan, me as somebody who is a huge Pokemon fan. That, of course, is Pokemon Legends Arceus. And the main reason I wanted to bring this up is because I think there is no better argument for games sort of being held off to see more of them until we get the Switch Pro than Arceus. With what we saw of it is running on a regular Switch. But I think it's going to be a massive difference when we see this game running on Switch Pro. And that's why I think it's cool that Game Freak decided to show us this early. This is the earliest we've ever seen one of their games. But I really think the next time we're really going to see Legends Arceus is going to be once the Switch Pro has been announced and we actually see what it really looks like running on that system.
Pokemon Legends Arceus with Breath of the Wild sequel, even Splatoon 3, I think they're going to push their boundaries when it comes to graphics, when it comes to... And there's a giant gap. Zelda is obviously more popular in the West, but Splatoon is far more popular. It is the most popular shooter in Japan.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild worldwide sold more, but like you said, yeah, Japan, Splatoon 2 blew it out of the water.
And the question is...
I talked about this on a bunch of other discussions. I did one with Easy Allies. I did like a stream on my own channel. I feel like what they're trying to do with Legends is they kind of realize that at this point, you can't just keep making all these new generations of Pokemon and implementing all these when you already have like almost 1,000 at this point, right? So instead of doing like 2 generations per system, plus doing the remakes, plus all this stuff, why not split it up and re-explore the regions that we've already been to, but in a different light?
So I have plenty of time to polish it from the reveal to release. We have Metroid Prime 4. We know Retro is working hard on that, hiring all kinds of talent, which is... they're bringing in the best people in the industry, and I have no doubt that this game is going to turn out into something absolutely golden. That Retro is going to deliver once again. They haven't disappointed us a single time so far, and I don't think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the game when they do it. And the same goes with Monolith Soft. It's very interesting that they're moving into a new IP after being bound to Xenoblade Chronicles for over a decade. So I think it's time for them also to move on. They've had Xenoblade Chronicles, they had Xenoblade Chronicles X, 2, after aiding and pushing Breath of the Wild into what it became. Probably, maybe also, who knows, maybe they might be aiding also.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely the sequel too, because when we see their game, their main new IP, it's probably dependent on when Breath of the Wild's coming out, because I think Breath of the Wild probably becomes a priority for Nintendo. So we have Breath of the Wild sequel. If it comes out this holiday, I could see the Monolith Soft IP coming out next year. But if Breath of the Wild comes out next year, I could maybe even see the new IP getting announced at like E3 and coming out late this year. Because they have been in development for that game for a while, but I'm right there with you. I mean, like, Monolith Soft to me is probably one of the best developers, if not the best developer Nintendo has. With, you know, all the work they've done on so many other franchises. They've helped with Splatoon, Animal Crossing, Zelda. They make the Xenoblade franchise. Monolith Soft can do no wrong to me. So I can't wait to see what they're working on next.
Yeah, and I think with that list of games that we have detailed throughout this video, the Nintendo Switch has a very, very strong lineup. It doesn't even include a possible next 3D Mario, which the Mario team might already be working on, because Bowser's Fury was the next step for Mario. Now it's all about just realizing it in a complete, say, 60-hour game or so. And that covers it. We don't know if Mario Kart is going to get an installment on the Switch. They might save that because of the success of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and you don't want to hamper that. There are some other possibilities as well, but those are not confirmed. We don't know anything about them, so we're not going to go over them as well. We're going over the lineup that exists. Alright then, I think that sums it up. Thank you once again to Rogersbase for joining into this kind of yearly discussion we have on lineups.
I feel like we do this every year.
Actually gotten quite a lot of new games to add on this list, and I think that is very exciting. Yeah. But if you are hyped for all of these games and for everything Nintendo, then be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to both of our channels, Commonwealth Realm and Rogersbase, with notification bells on to not miss any of those videos.
Yes, please.
And we'll see you in the next one. Enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.